everybody, welcome back. I know in my little binge series here on Airbnb that I'm posting, I've been talking about a business plan. Do you know how to do a business plan? Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of places out there that can help you with a business plan. And if you want to get into Airbnb or long-term landlording or anything on the rental side of real estate, okay? Because if you're just buying a house to buy, and I don't care where you live, 25 years from now, I don't care what you pay for a property today. If you buy it, move into it, and stay there for 25 years, you will not be disappointed unless you live in Detroit. You will not. If you have negative migration for 25 years and your city keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, if that's been going on, don't bother buying a place. It's just, it'll just keep going down in value because there's lots of houses and people aren't moving there. Business plan. This is where a business plan comes in, and I'm here to talk to you about business plan. Now, maybe you didn't go to university and get yourself a degree, or maybe you didn't buy a book and read it, or maybe you didn't go to BDO, maybe you didn't go to the BBB, maybe you didn't go to the government organizations that give it to you for free on how to do a business plan. And then, this is in Canada, I don't know about the States, you can book an appointment with an actual professional for free that'll show you how to do it. So when you sit there with the numbers, you know what you're doing. So I'm gonna give you a little quick lesson on how to do a business plan. So you're sitting there going, I'm gonna be an Airbnb host. And you know, that place over there, I'm gonna buy it. You know, I have a pretty decent job. It's pretty easy to do. I see all these people making these videos, making tons of money. I'm on YouTube. I got this guy here and that guy there and this one over here and her over there and that one over there. And we got rental arbitrage. I'm renting 20 places. And then I'm renting them out on Airbnb and I'm making $100,000 a year. And I sit at home and smoke cigars and drink scotch. Well, cigars are very expensive where I live. I don't have the luxury of the United States, no tax on cigars, or on alcohol. But this is about a business plan. So, this is how you do a business plan. First things first, you gotta ask yourself this one question before you start your plan. What am I doing a business plan for? And you gotta be specific. I wanna do long-term rentals. Okay, you're gonna be a landlord and you're gonna do leases 1 year at a time or longer on real estate. And it's gonna be what's called residential real estate, not commercial real estate. Or maybe you're gonna do commercial real estate. If that's the case, then you can't do both. You gotta pick one or the other. The business plan for residential real estate and the business plan for commercial real estate and industrial real estate are two completely different business plans. And I mean, they are, one's water, one's air. That's the difference. No air for 2 minutes, you're dead. Or 3 minutes, okay? That's commercial industrial. Water, residential. You don't get any water, you can last about 3 days. Not 3 minutes. You can last about 3 days. And then you're dead. See the difference? Because commercial industrial, let me tell you, you better have some strong intestinal fortitude for that market. And there's a reason the market's the way it is because of how difficult it is to do. Very lucrative, but very difficult. Business plan, number one, what are you doing? So, let's say short-term rental. We're gonna do weekly rentals. So the first thing you have to say, before you do your business plan, you've decided what you're going to do. Now, we're not getting into the money part yet. You're gonna sit down and say, where do I wanna do it? Real important, where? What city, what area, vacation area, non-vacation area, just down the street from where you live in Timbuktu, I don't know. Where are you going to do it? And are you going to manage it? Even if you hire a manager for your Airbnb, you are still the manager of your Airbnb. There's no such thing as passive income. If you try to do passive income, i.e. buy it, hire a manager and disappear, I don't think you'll make any money because you didn't do your business plan. Oh, you might do well for a year or two, but then it'll just crash on you. So, where? So now you've got your where, then you got to do what type. Is it going to be a house? Is it going to be a 4-bedroom house, a 2-bedroom house, a 1-bedroom house? Is it going to have a yard? Is it going to have a garage? Does it have a back alley? Is there a suite above the garage that you're also going to Airbnb? So you're going to buy the house and Airbnb it and Airbnb the suite, so you have 2 in one property, or maybe a house, a bungalow with a suite on the main floor, a suite in the basement, and a suite on top of the garage plus the garage. And you'll use the garage to store everything in, or maybe you'll rent out the garage. Like, what exactly are you doing? 2, is it going to be renovated? Once you've decided on what type of property you're going to buy, it's going to be an apartment condo. How will they get to the apartment condo? How will they get into the apartment condo? How would they do check-in in the apartment condo? Whew, that's tough. Security, where is it? Is it downtown? Is it outtown? Is it midtown? Like, how are they going to get in? How are they going to get the key? Do you have to be there to give them the key? Are there rules? Apartment condos are very tough to Airbnb. Am I going to rental arbitrage? In Canada, you can't do that. There are one-offs, but for the most part, you can't do it. No one will do it. I can rent 10 places at, say, $1,200 a month in a building, and then I'm going to Airbnb them. Well, you're on the hook for $12,000 a month, and whether you got a booking or not, you have to figure that out over 12 months times 5. If you don't have a 5-year plan in your business plan, it's not a business plan. So, where are we? We got what type you're doing, where you're doing it, what type of product, where you're doing it, and it has to be for 5 years. So now that you've got that down pat, you're like, okay, what's my cost of the property? You're going to Airbnb. We'll get into the research of what you're going to get for income on Airbnb, but first we got to figure out the cost of the property. So you're going to go out and you're going to buy this property. Now, we're not doing a zero down thing. There are zero downs out there where you can convince someone to give you the money, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Very hard to do, almost impossible. They do exist though. And if you're persistent and willing to do it 100 times to get one, you can get one. But you've got the down payment and you can buy this property. This is part of the business plan. That is a part of your capital going into this. I'm going to buy this place. I'm going to get a mortgage. What's the mortgage at? How long is that rate at? What are my taxes? Property taxes. What's the insurance? Insurance. What's the maintenance? Who's going to mow the lawn? Is there a lawn to be mowed? Who's going to maintain the lawn? Who's going to water the trees? All this stuff. You have to take this into account. How am I going to furnish the house? How much will it cost to furnish the house? Do you have a budget for furnishing the house? If you're not going around to all the places you're going to buy this stuff and writing down the cost of everything, how many forks, how many spoons, how many knives, coffee machines, drip machines, Kirk machines, laundry, washers, dryers, soap, fabric softener, you name it, towels, you got to go through the whole thing. Every item that's in there. Okay? Go around your house and say, if I were to Airbnb my house, what would I get rid of? And then go around and check every item in every closet everywhere because it's going to get used. That's what you got to put in there. Trust me, your budget for furnishing your Airbnb will be low, so double it. I don't care what you put down, double it. It doubled for me. I said I need $10,000 to equip my Airbnb. It took almost $20,000 to equip the Airbnb. Okay? I wanted a barbecue. I wanted, like, whew. Next, now you figure out what I'm buying, where I'm buying, and what it's going to cost me to buy. And you have to figure it out on a monthly basis. So you add all that up and you divide it by 12 and there you go. That's how much a month. So I'm going to buy this place. It's going to cost me $3,000 a month. Now, revenue in your business plan. So now you've got all those first things and you better write them down, pinpoint them, put dollar values to them and add them all up. Next, revenue. So how do you know what you're going to get for revenue? Well, my cost is $3,000 a month. Every booking I get, because I'm only going to book it, I don't think I'll be 100% booked 30 days a month. According to Airbnb, most places are only booked 15 days a month. This is in an area that has enough tourism and travel or business people coming in. Nurses, doctors, accountants, oil guys, whatever it is, okay? You got enough business travel coming in on a consistent basis every month of the year. I can get 15 days booked. Well, if I got 15 days booked and I got to cover $3,000 a month, but just covering my costs, 15 into 3,000, and that's your nightly rate. If I'm going to average 15 a month, maybe you're only going to average 10. It doesn't matter what it is. You need to figure out what your daily rate is going to be multiplied by the whole year. So there's 365 days. I'm only going to book 150. I base my cost basis on, one, it's a resort town. So I know there's times of the years I get a lot, and there's a time of the year I don't get very much. And I figured that out. How much is peak? How much is non-peak? My peak time is 4 months of the year, but it's really 2. I have the shoulder months on each side of the 2 that do pretty good, and then I got the 2 main months that are fantastic, July and August. The rest of the year, downtime. Downtime, could be vacant the rest of the year. So I had to figure out how much is it costing me, and what do I got to get out of the 2 main months, the 2 shoulder months, and then the rest of the year. And you have to do a lot of research on this. And trust me, people are not forthcoming that have been doing this for any length of time when you call them. They won't tell you if you can even get a hold of them. So you have to figure this out. Now there's ways to do this. There's stuff on Airbnb, there's stuff on Vrbo, there's third-party programming out there. There's ways to figure out what actually comes in at certain times of the year and what doesn't. And then you can figure out what I got to charge. And then after you figure out, this is what I got to charge to make the return I want to make. What's the return you want to make? You made all this capital investment. What do you want to make on that capital? Say you had to put in 100 grand. I'm using round numbers here. I could put 100 grand in. I want 20% return on that 100 grand. That's $20,000 a year. So your cost is $3,000 a month and you want to make $20,000 a year, take the 20 divided by 12, add it to the 3, and figure out your pricing. Once you got your pricing figured out, this is the next step. This is what I'm going to charge. Will I get it? This is the biggest step. Will I get that revenue? And this takes a long time. I spend, I would say, 80 to 100 hours a year figuring my pricing before the next year. I would say 100 hours. This is not something that can be done in a couple of hours. It takes a long time, and you got to check a lot of things and a lot of factors. What is going on in your area, travel factors, what they're projecting for travel factors. This takes a long time. It's very hard to do. But once you figure it out and you got your links, and hopefully you have a desktop computer, because it's just easier to do than your phone or laptop. Just go get a desktop, they're cheap. Next, after you figure out your pricing and you've compared, and then compared to other properties, is your property, this little thing here, better or worse than your competitors? And how many competitors do you have? Let's say you have 9. I have 7 competitors. There are 200 Airbnbs where I Airbnb, but only 7 have 4 bedrooms. Okay? Only 7 have 4 bedrooms. That's it. All the rest, there's 1 3-bedroom one, all the rest are 2s out of those 200. So I know my competitors are 7, and a fringe competitor gets it to 8, but 7 compared to me. So what am I charging to those 7, and what do I offer compared to those 7? I tried to meet them all and take a look. I even invited them to come and take a look at what I was doing. This was 5 years ago. And those people were mad that I was even doing it. The 7 4-bedroom places were there 5 years ago, and they're there today. Nobody else has brought a 4-bedroom on or greater. Nobody. We're the only ones. There's lots of 2s and 1s and stuff that have come on. over the last 5 years, but there's been no force. So my competition hasn't changed. What is my competition charging? How are they charging? What's the minimum days? How many days do you have to book with them to get with them? Will they do single bookings? Do they take pets? I do not take pets. I'm allergic to cats and dogs. Okay? All these little bumps you see all over me, cats and dogs. I am not renting to anyone with a cat or a dog. Okay, I'm not. Forget it. I stay at this property also, so there's no way. And getting cleaned up from a cat and a dog, if someone stayed there for a couple weeks, you better not have a booking the next day or the day after. Like, it's incredibly difficult to get all the hair off everything, and these pet owners don't understand that because they're a pet owner and they think everyone's a pet owner. And don't get me going about these therapy dogs and crap like that. There's lots of places to book. They don't need to book your place. I do not allow pets whatsoever, and I never will. If the law changed to where I had to take someone with a pet because of some disability or something like that, I would not Airbnb. And I checked into this extensively before I started it to know if I could do this, where I'm going to do this, that I didn't get some mamby-pamby government person coming along and saying, you gotta let that person in with their therapy dog and it's a 100-pound husky, which will destroy the place. No. Go book somewhere else where they love pets and they'll let the pets in. There's lots of those. There's lots of pet places. You know, go to the people that have the pets. I have no pets, never had a pet, not gonna have a pet, and I'm not letting you in with a pet. But again, this is the last point that I got on before I said the point. What will your rules be? And you have to do it in your business plan, and you have to stick to them. It's very hard. People will push and push and push and push. Getting in early and staying late is the #1 thing on Airbnb, and I do not let people in early, and I do not let people stay late. If they stay late, they get a 3-star review, and if they stay late more than 15 minutes, I give them a 1. And I tell them that because I'm there. I run my Airbnb. I'm not passive about it. It is extremely difficult to clean a 4-bedroom house in the time that we have if we have another guest coming in. And if that guest had been there for any length of time, a week, 2 weeks, and I got someone coming in at 5 o'clock and they're checking out at 11 o'clock and they're checking out late, I have a problem. Even if they're good people, I might not be able to get it ready by 5 o'clock. It's very hard to do. And people say, well, just hire more people. Oh, so up your cleaning fee? So, in your business plan, now you have everything done, and now we're into the operation of your business plan. Okay? And the operation of your business plan is, what's my cleaning fee? Who's going to clean it? Who's going to do the laundry? Towels, bed sheets, duvet covers, all that kind of stuff. Who's going to clean the windows? Who's going to mow the lawn? Who's going to do everything that needs to be done on a yearly basis at your Airbnb? Lawn cut once a week, snow shoveling once a week, or maybe there's no snow, maybe it's hot and tropical, who knows? Doesn't matter where it is. What are the weekly things that need to be done? Is there bushes that need to be trimmed? Are there trees that need to be trimmed? Is there firewood that has to be stocked? What is it? This is the operations of you got all that other research done. Now you got to get into the nitty gritty. How much has to be done and who's going to do it and how much am I going to pay them? When you decide what you're going to pay someone to do these things, you have to take a look at the marketplace and see whether or not you're offering a wage that's reasonable in the marketplace. Will you get good people at that wage? This is a business plan. So after you get all that done, there's a number at the end, and it decides whether or not you're going to do it. But the one thing I haven't talked about that's more important than all this other stuff. All this other stuff is important, but #1 is capital. I'm not talking about the capital of a province or a city or a state or a country. I'm talking about money. How much money do you have? And how much money can you afford to lose until your plan starts to work? And did you take this into account in your business plan? For speeds up and slows down. Economies boom, economies slow down. They boom, they slow down. They go into recession. So, if you're in a recession, you can have a recession in your city and your country be booming. Take it from someone that knows. I was in a recession in Alberta when the rest of Canada was booming. And now we're booming and the rest of Canada is slowing down. We are not in recession. It's just We were going 100 kilometers down the road, and now we're going 60 kilometers down the road, and people think we've stopped. We haven't stopped, and we're not going to go into recession. Technical 2-quarter thing, maybe. But if you're in recession and you're going to do Airbnb, you're normal going to do Airbnb, you're booming doing Airbnb. And when you're booming, what are you doing with all that extra money? Do you recognize that you're booming? Your business plan this is where the capital comes in. I'm booming. Income. Normal. Income. Recession. Income. Can I cover my costs? Am I saving the extra for when things slow down? Or am I just going to do it for 2 years? Well, if you're just going to do it for 2 years because you think the housing market's going to explode and you want some income while you're holding that property, great. That's your business plan. And you better write it down and follow it, or you will lose all your money. Capital is the most important part of this. Can you cover, are you ready? The slow times. Say you got 4 months of the year where the income's booming and then it goes slow. Did you save it to cover the slow times? Were you disciplined enough to know it was going to slow down and I need to cover? I got $12,000 a month coming in, and I know for January, February, March, and April, I'm going to have zero. Well, 12,000 covers the 3,333. Not getting anything. And maybe the place that you're doing it is like that. Capital. Can you cover the slow times? This is where rental arbitrage just can't do it in my country, but where people do it lose their shirt because they assume they will always be booked and be able to cover those rents. You've got to do a business plan to say there are peak times and slow times, and I can cover the short times. And if you didn't do that, you're broke. So, oh, I got in for zero money. Still have to buy the furniture and everything. Oh, I did it on credit. Doesn't matter. You should have done your business plan. How much coming in? How much am I going? How much capital do I need? How much capital I'm going to need when it slows down? What if something happens? Do I have a reserve? And if you don't have a reserve, that could be okay, but you better know you don't have a reserve. And there's a certain point, when I hit this point, gotta sell. I gotta get out or I'm gonna lose all my money. Simple as that. I'm gonna incur debt. Is it worth incurring the debt? That's gotta be in your business plan. You did all this hard work, and trust me, it's hundreds of hours of work. You get things going, you didn't look at your capital, and then you ran out of capital, and you started borrowing money, and you didn't take that into account. Next thing you know, the cost of borrowing that money goes through the roof. Remember, if you're borrowing money to keep going, you're doing line of credits or whatever, it's at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16%. None of this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% stuff. So why are you doing it? Is it worth doing it? Or maybe the projection of your area for Airbnb is not there. I won't be able to cover any of the cost. Well, you know what? Going in recession, I can cover 95% of the cost of my Airbnb, and I took that into account. Recessions typically last 1 to 3 years, and I got enough to get through that 3 years. And then we're back to this. Well, I'm totally okay. Keep Airbnb in. Simple. Everyone else will drop off and be gone. And then next thing you know, it starts booming, you make it all back. So thank you for tuning in. This is how you do a business plan. It's hard. Okay? Hopefully you got paper, pen, computer, resources, people you know that you can contact to help you with this. And there are Airbnbers out there that offer programs and stuff like that, but now you got to do this. You got to figure it out. You got to know. And once you know, you can figure out if you can do it or not. So thank you for tuning in. Do your business plan and follow it. Hardest thing ever is to follow a plan. I see people every day not saving the down payment to buy their first house, because that's what I do for a living, is I sell real estate, and they still don't have it because they didn't follow the plan, and they started 5 years ago and they still can't do it. Follow your plan and you will succeed. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great week, and I'll see you in the future.